Hey, it's Dan from SpiritTireRunning.com. Oh, it is cold out, guys. 17 degrees out, but I'm going to give you the story of my nose surgery. So it was right before Christmas, December 22nd. Some of the minor details. It was supposed to be at 9:30 in the morning, so we were supposed to get there like at 7:30 to sign in and get every paperwork done and stuff. Well, I didn't get called back until almost noon. So I couldn't eat or drink any water since midnight. So I'm starting to get hungry. I'm getting thirsty. I love my water. Usually I have at least 12 ounces done by 11 a.m. So I was starting to get a little cranky and crabby about it, because I was thinking they said it was a 45-minute surgery, about an hour and a half waiting time. So I was thinking, you know what, around noon, I'll be on my way home, good to go, take the next few days to rest, and then I'll still have a couple days of my Christmas break ready to go. Yeah, not happening, guys. So went back into the prep room, got the gown on and just sitting there freezing cold. Put nice socks on there so the non-slip, so if you had to go to the bathroom, you wouldn't slip and stuff. And just kind of laid there. Doctor comes in, like a PA comes in, then an anesthesiologist comes in. His aides, like 2 or 3 of them come in. They all ask the same questions and so forth. The nurse comes back in and stuff. Then my wife was able to finally come back and sit with us, which would seem like forever, sitting back there. Then it was time to roll me out. Obviously, my wife couldn't come back with me, and they're rolling. You kind of think of those shows and TV movies where they show the lights just flashing by. That's kind of how it was. It was just like going through the lights and stuff. All right, I had an IV in. They were already giving me some pain medicine or something to start knocking me out and stuff. I think they used propofol and a bunch of other medicine. I can't remember off the top of my head to put me under. The reason they had to put me under was I was going to be incubated, where they put the tube down your throat. Maybe you've seen in like a Chicago fire that they put them down their throat and stuff. In which I'm glad. I did not want to be awake for that at all. So then we're in the operating room. They had me shift over to the table. They put some blankets on, and I remember hearing music. They were playing music in there, which was kind of a little fitting, because like every TV show you kind of watch in the Chicago ER, or ER, or Chicago, what is it called? Chicago Med, ER, whatever surgery show they have, they always have like music playing in the background and stuff, and they had it. It was kind of fitting and stuff. And then I could remember just kind of starting to get tired. And then the next thing, it was almost like, when you knock out, it's pretty much like, bam, you're out, and then kind of, bam, you're coming back. And you don't know how long it's passed, and and obviously it was over an hour. They said it was only supposed to be a 45-minute surgery, but when we got to the hour, I know my wife said when she got to the hour point, she was still starting to get a little worried, because it was only supposed to be 45 minutes, and 15 extra minutes will seem like forever. Well, I had some problems, not major problems. When they are taking me off of the anesthesia and bringing me back to reality, I'm thinking I was coming back a little faster than they were planning on it, or that they were hoping. And I don't know for sure, because nobody told me this, but I think the incubation tube, the tube down my throat, was still somewhat in, or they were starting to still pulling it out when I was coming to. And the reason I say this is because when I was coming to, I thought I was choking to death. I could not breathe because obviously my nose is all plugged up. Everything's, swollen, blood, snot, everything. And so the only place I could breathe is through my mouth. And, and God gives us this body where we don't even have to think about breathing. We just do it. And if our nose is plugged up, we just start breathing through our mouth. I mean, it's amazing to think about how we just do this. And I could not breathe. And so I started fighting. I don't know if I punched anybody, but I do know is I couldn't see anything. My eyes weren't open, but I could hear. And I could hear them, somebody trying to tell me to calm down, just breathe. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I can't breathe. I'm fighting for my life here. I mean, I seriously thought they were trying to kill me. And I'm sitting here fighting for my life. And then I could hear the nurses or somebody in the background saying, they wish they had a call, they have like codes and stuff. They wish they had a code that would just mean it wasn't life-threatening, that just they needed more help. So my guess is they called code like I was dying, because I guess all these doctors and people rushed into the room, and all they really needed was to hold me down, which tells me I must be stronger than I really think I am. If it took, because there was probably about 6 nurses and doctors in the room when I rolled in and started this procedure. So I'm not sure how many were there when I started fighting, but I'm guessing at least 6 people were in there trying to hold me down. And then they had to call people in. Well, finally, after the guy kept saying, just breathe, I could finally take deep breaths and calm myself down a little bit. And then I remember, and then I think I kind of went back to sleep a little bit, because the next thing I remember is kind of waking up, getting a little bit more coherent, back into the rest area for, it was the post-op area to have a nurse and to get all the, what I need, to clean me up and see how I was doing, make sure that I was okay before they let me go. And I can remember apologizing for being aggressive. And this has never happened to me. I've been knocked out by anesthesia a few times. Most notably, in the last 2 years, at least twice. These last 2 years. One when I had the scope down my throat to check when I was not feeling well and I was sick. And another time when I had some shots put into my back. I had my wife. It was at my wife's work, and I had them put me out there. So I've never had a reaction like this. So I don't know if it was because I was sick right before this surgery a little bit, if it was the extra narcotics that they use. I'm not sure what they use, if there was something in that, or it was just the fact that they weren't done taking out the tube, and my body was saying I can't breathe, so I was fighting for my life. And the nurse there said, "It's okay, don't worry about it." And then my very next thing was where's my wife? I wanted my wife. And I think he was a little afraid of me, because he said that they don't usually allow that to happen. So after I asked him again, where's my wife? I wanted to see my wife. He said, okay, just give me a second and we'll bring her back. And they brought her back. And then he did say, well, she won't be able to stay long. But she stayed the entire time until I left. But I did get a different nurse, so I don't know, maybe the translation between what he was saying to what she was saying changed. Right away, I didn't notice not much. My nose was swollen. It was hurting and stuff. But more importantly, my calves were killing me. I mean, they had the surgical calf things on to keep the circulation so you don't get a blood clot and stuff. They took those off to see if that would help, but my calves were so tight and hurting so bad. And I'm guessing it must have been from me fighting and trying to get out of there when I couldn't breathe. Because the very next day, my whole body, I mean, every single muscle in my body was so sore. I mean, super sore. I couldn't turn my neck. I couldn't raise my arms. I couldn't move my legs. It was horrible. I mean, that was 10 times worse the pain than what I was feeling at that time with my nose. And I just could not believe how much pain I was in, or how stiff I was. And I think that goes back to when I was fighting these nurses and doctors to let me breathe. So that kind of went away after a few days. You know how that, it was just like a regular muscle soreness that takes a few days to get away with and stuff. But because of my nose, they didn't pack it or anything. If you ever had this type of surgery, they actually put stents into each side of my nose. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it did let things flow. So I had to constantly have a gauze collecting and disgusting stuff that we don't really need to go into. Using the bathroom was hard because you couldn't really, lower your head or anything. If you sneezed, you had to make sure your mouth was open because you didn't want to burst anything in there. You didn't want to rip this. There was a couple stitches holding the splints in. You didn't want to rupture those. And then I had to have the splints in for over a week. It was actually the Friday, December 30th is so a week and one day, that I got them removed. And, that was, you just went in there, pulled it out. They were pretty good size. To today, I'm still congested a little bit. I'm still swollen. I go back in 2 weeks to see how I'm doing. But here's the funny thing that the doctor, my doctor, he's an old cat, old school. He's been doing this for quite a while and stuff. He kind of, I don't know, uses me as a teaching tool. I mean, when I do visit him in the office, it's a teaching office. It's part of Wayne State University, so they have residents there that are learning with them. And he's amazed that first my sleep apnea, which I stopped breathing 100 times an hour. He couldn't believe that, and when he was originally looking, he had deviated septums on both sides. And so that's what they did. They fixed the deviated septums, and then they also shaved skin and bone off so I could be more efficiently to be able to breathe. It's not going to cure my sleep apnea. That's part of hereditary, but hopefully this will help a little bit. Hopefully losing weight will help a little bit. But I can remember in high school, guys, 125 pounds, having some of the same issues. Can't breathe in cross country. Had to wear nose strips and put like the BioFreeze right underneath your nose so you can breathe that in and stuff. So I've had this skinny and big. Not going to get rid of it, which I'm okay living with, but I want to be able to breathe. I want to be able to do stuff. So as I was talking to the doctor about it, my one side, my deviated septum was so bad. This is what, swear to God, this is what he said. I don't even know how you were breathing. Because my deviated septum was so bad, he had no clue how I was physically breathing day to day. And I posted about how when I found out that I stopped breathing 100 times an hour, that I'm literally dying every single day. This is kind of confirming the whole, I probably should have been dead. Only by the grace of God, I'm here for a bigger purpose, and I'm not going to squander that purpose. That's why I'm going to keep pushing and doing these longer and longer races to show people it doesn't matter your size, it doesn't matter your ability. Work at it, it can be done. That's why I'm sitting right now in the parking lot for Planet Fitness, so I can get on the treadmill and stationary bike. So then after that, after I got the splints out, it's still, it's pretty much what it is. It's still kind of here and there. I gotta use some sprays, some Flonase, keep it clean, keep it moist, so I can get rid of all the extra junk that has been building up over the days. Fun stuff, I guess. If I knew how much pain I would have been in and how long it would have taken to fully recover, I mean, even just the recover I have done already, I don't know if I would have made that choice, but it's the right choice to make, and because I have to be able to breathe. So we'll see. Later this week I'm flying, so we're going to see how that goes about as I fly for a meeting. Hopefully the pressure won't be too bad. That would be embarrassing if I come off the plane with a bloody nose. But I'm going to live each day knowing that I could have been dead, and knowing that that I'm grateful to be here, that I have a family that loves me, that I love. I have a God that saved me from eternal hell, and I have some of the best friends around. Every step counts.